Hi, welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name is Angela and all the places you can find me online should be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for joining me for this video. I thought I'd try and upload a quick sort of bonus episode this week. And I'm going to beg your indulgence because this one's probably more for me than anything else. So I'm hoping to participate in my first Tour de Fleece this year, and the tour starts on Saturday. So I thought it'd be quite fun to show you the fibres that I'm planning to spin, and then at the end of the tour I'll do a wrap-up video to see what I actually managed to get done. So yeah, as I say, it's more really for me than anything else. I think this one, but if you're interested, then you are more than welcome, obviously, to come along the journey with me. Before I start chatting about fibres and spinning, I wondered if you'd like to take a couple of minutes to go for a little walk with me. I hope you enjoyed that. That was my Monday morning off. I went for a little walk across the barrage from Penarth, where I live, to Cardiff Bay, and it's a really lovely walk. Right, anyway, on to the fibre goodness. So as I mentioned at the start of the video, I am joining in Tour de Fleece this year. I'm actually spinning for 2 teams in theory, so I've signed up for the official rookie team in the Tour de Fleece thread over on Ravelry, and I'm also going to be spinning for the Hilltop Cloud team, and basically that means I'll be spinning through my Hilltop Cloud fibre stash. I've got a fair few braids and bumps of fibre from Hilltop Cloud, some of which I purchased at Wonderwall this year, and some of which I managed to pick up on D-Stash. So yeah, I thought I'd talk to you about those fibres and maybe try and formulate some plans as to what I'm actually going to do with the finished yarn, which will kind of inform how I spin the yarns really. So this is my big basket of fibre that I'm planning to work my way through. I don't know how much of that I'll actually spin through. If you're not familiar with this event, basically the Tour de Fleece runs alongside the Tour de France, which is a cycle race for anyone who might not be familiar. And every day spinners around the world try and spin along while the riders are completing the phases of the race. I'm not a massive cycle fan, so I don't know tons, but I'm expecting to learn a lot this year as I follow along with some of the chatter threads. But the tour departs on Saturday, and I think it finishes near the end of the month, something like the 27th maybe. I might have my dates wrong on that, but you can Google Tour de France and find that out, no problem. So yeah, my plan is to spin for maybe an hour each day. I think that's probably manageable. I usually spin for about half an hour each morning before I leave for work. So if I can continue that and then half an hour when I get home, I should easily manage my target. But I'm not going to be too harsh on myself. The Hilltop Clouds team are fairly relaxed. I know there are some teams out there that are spinning for mileage, so you try and spin through as much fibre as you want. But the goals for the Hilltop Cloud team are just to spin Hilltop Cloud fibre. And there's no sort of pressure to spin lots or anything like that. So it's one of the reasons I decided to sort of spin along with that team. And because I had some Hilltop in stash as well, they're a local Welsh dyer, so it's nice to have that sort of local connection for me as well. So yeah, I think I'll chat to you about the fibres that I have, I guess. So I'm planning to do some wheel spinning and some spindle spinning. So I think I'll start with the spindle spinning. And this is a spindle that I don't think I've really talked about in detail. If you have followed me for a long time, you will have seen this spindle when I did my vlog from New Zealand when we were on holiday there last March. This is a beautiful birch spindle. It's one of my favourites. Had a long-term spin on it, so it hasn't featured on the podcast recently. But it's a handmade spindle purchased from a maker who lives in Christchurch in New Zealand, the lovely Tej, who is Whimsy Wood and Wool. You'll find her on Facebook, I think, and she makes these gorgeous spindles. And we were staying with a friend when we stayed in Christchurch, and my friend knows Tej very well, so I was able to meet her, and then she kindly invited me to her house so that I was able to pick from a collection of spindles that she had made. This was the one that came home with me from New Zealand. I just want to mention, quick apologies about the light. It's a really bright sunny day here today, and if I swing you around a bit, the sunlight, whew, look at that, it's coming in full swing. But if I have the blinds closed, then it's completely dark in this room, so apologies if we get a little bit of strange lighting or distraction from the light. Anyway, on my spindle, I am planning on spinning through this lovely sample pack that I picked up from Hilltop's Cloud. And this is their Colours of Cambria, the Steam collection. And this is Cambrian wool. So I've spoken about Cambrian wool before. It's a community interest company, the Cambrian Wool CIC, and they collect fleeces from farms in Wales, in the Cambrian Mountains area, and the sheep are usually a cross between Welsh Mule and Blue-faced Leicester. This is a collection of comb tops from Cambrian Wool Company that's been dyed up by the lovely Kate of Hilltop Cloud. So it's a lovely colour selection of some blues, and there's a sort of naturally grey kind of colour, and then there's the orange and burgundy. You can't see it massively well because it's in the pack, but I'm not going to take it out of the pack just yet because it's going to floof up, so I'm not going to take it out until I'm ready to spin. So I am planning on spinning up those on my spindle. There's 100 grams in this pack altogether, and I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colours. So there's going to be approximately sort of 20 grams of each fibre. So I think that's definitely manageable on my spindle. I don't have a particular plan for these fibres. I just bought the pack because they were a Welsh fibre, and they're beautiful colours, completely in my wheelhouse, like blues and sort of rusty oranges. So yeah, I'm just going to spin them up, and they may go into a shawl project that I'm planning. And then next up, at Wonderwall this year, I picked up some naturally dyed merino, some 50 gram hanks in 3 different colours. So yeah, these are just 19 micron merino. This is plum colourway, this is amber, and this one is geranium. And I just really loved these beautiful colours together, these sort of subtle naturally dyed colours. So yes, they will be hopefully spun during Tour de Fleece as well. Again, I don't have a particular plan for the yarn that I make with these. As part of the tour, there are a couple of challenge days, I believe, and so I'm thinking about, on the challenge days, maybe trying to practice different types of spinning technique. So these possibly might be used for those challenge days, just to do a bit of experimentation with, but we shall see. I've also got a bump of this lovely yellow fibre with stellina in it. Now, I don't know exactly what the fibre content is because I picked this one up on a D-stash. The listing did say what it was, but I have forgot to make a note of it. So I'm probably going to go back and try and find the original page that this fibre was on, just to try and find out what's in it. I'm imagining it's probably merino, stellina, maybe a blend with something else, but I think you can see that sparkle, and it's this gorgeous yellowy colour. It's a bit richer than it's showing up on the screen here. It's definitely in the sort of like mustardy golden yellow wheelhouse, right? It's showing a bit sort of greeny on my screen at least. So yeah, there's that one to do. That one might be one of my first spins. It's a fibre that I'm not particularly precious about in terms of the colour's lovely, but I don't have any particular plans, so I think it might be a good one to start with and warm up on, but we shall see, because there's one other contender for the start as well, and I'll show you that one now. So I picked up, this is another Cambrian base for the fibre. This is Welsh Mule and Blueface Leicester, and this is the colourway that Hilltop Clouds have actually dyed up for, especially for this year's Tour de Fleece, and it's called Pays de Gaule. And I showed this on one of my episodes not too long ago because it's a recent acquisition, and it's got all of these gorgeous colourways. The inspiration behind this colourway is the Welsh flag with the yellow jersey, because a lovely Welsh chap won the Tour de Fleece last year. So yeah, this may be my first spin. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it again. I think I'm going to unbraid it and see what it looks like, but I'm thinking maybe a fractal because it's got lots of beautiful colours, or maybe I'll spin it end to end and then chain ply it to sort of keep that colour progression. But I think ultimately it'll be determined by what the fibre looks like when I actually unbraid it. So yeah, this will go on the wheel fairly quickly. As I say, it's going to be a toss-up between that one and the sparkly one, I think, for my first spin. I also have 3 braids from Hilltop Clouds Nordic collection, which is 50% merino, 50% Corriedale, and I've got 2 in the lovely Sif colourway, which again is a lovely sort of yellowy orange colour with some hints of green in there as well. So I've got 200 grams, both of which I picked up on D-stash. And then I also have 100 grams in the Earth colourway from the same collection. So 50-50 merino Corriedale in this nice brown colour. So I've got a couple of options with this. My first thought was to maybe spin for a ritual shawl, which is a lovely pattern by Mars of Hay Brown Berry. I should hopefully have enough fibre to get a decent meterage for that. The shawl is a DK weight shawl, and I seem to be defaulting. My default spin is sort of a sports to DK weight at the moment. So if I could achieve that, then I think this would make a lovely ritual shawl. However, I'm also toying with the idea, because this is one of her current collections, if I could pick up another braid in this beautiful Sif colourway, if I can spin it quite fine and end up with a fingering weight yarn, I'm toying with the idea of spinning for a Love Note sweater, which is a pattern by Tin Can Knits, which uses a fingering or 4-ply weight yarn held double with mohair, and it's a lovely lightweight sort of summery top. And as I already have 2 of these, if I can pick up another one, I think I might be able to spin for that. I might do a little sample, figure out how this kind of wants to be spun up, and then decide whether to make it for the ritual shawl or to get some extra for a love note top. Yeah, we'll see. I have all these lofty goals. I'll probably only spin like 1 or 2 of these braids in the time given, because it takes me a long time to spin. Someone mentioned that I was really quick at spinning. My quickest spin was the tiger fibre from Owl About Yarn that I did last week. That was just because I spun the singles quite thick, and that took me 2 days from start to finish. But all of the other spins that I've showed, it's been a week in the making, so I've got more than 4 weeks worth of fibre here. I also picked up on D-Stash this little sample bag of mulberry silk from Hilltop Cloud. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but I wondered whether it might be a fun one to play with on my Turkish spindle. It's really lightweight, so it's quite difficult to spin on, but I'm wondering if silk might be a good fibre for that, so I might play around with that once I finish my spindle spin of that sample pack. And then I have one final braid of Hilltop Cloud in my stash, and this is the one that I'm going to leave to last, and surprise surprise, it's another one of their Cambrian based, the BFL in Welsh. Can you notice a theme here? It doesn't have a colourway, it just says it was dyed in spring 2019, and you might have seen this from my Wonderwall video, and it's this gorgeous deep sort of rusty orange brown colour. Now the reason I'm going to leave this one to last is because I have this crazy idea to spin for a sweater. I have lots of lovely braids of fibre in my stash that are, surprise surprise, have sort of similar colourings to this because orange. And I have an idea to spin for like a fade type sweater, and this would definitely be included in that. This one would probably be one of the sort of bottom colourways, so I'd start with some lighter colours and then work down to the deeper colours. And I've got a few braids. I'm looking over here to see if I can put my hands on any of them. So yeah, I've got a few, like this one from Cat and Sparrow. It's got some sort of purpley tones and some yellowy sort of tones, so I'm thinking about bringing those sorts of colours in as well, to make some sort of sweater fade type thing. But I think my spinning needs to be pretty consistent because I'm going to be wanting to spin several braids of fibre at a very similar sort of weight. And the fibres that I have in mind are different blends as well, so I'm going to need to probably do a bit of sampling to see if that's actually going to work out. So yes, this one is going to be reserved till last. I think it's very unlikely that I'll get to that one because I've got so many others to get through, and as I say, I'm not the fastest spinner. So yeah, we'll see how we go. And hopefully in a few weeks' time there'll be a wrap-up video, and I will be able to show you some hopefully beautiful yarns that I have made from all of this delicious fibre. Hopefully I can do it justice. Everything for this little video. Hopefully it should be a fairly quick one. If you've stuck with me through all of the fibre talk, then I really do appreciate your company. Thank you so much. I know many of you out there aren't spinners, but a few people have left comments on my previous videos to say that while they don't entirely understand spinning, neither do I, by the way, they enjoyed the segment, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And yeah, just to reiterate on that note, that I am a completely beginner spinner, so don't take anything that I say as gospel. I'm sure there are experienced spinners out there who would be cringing when I'm talking about how I spin my stuff, but yeah, I think I'm just really enjoying spinning because it's really allowing me to be sort of creative and have a play. And that's not to say that I can't do that with knitting and crochet, because I absolutely can. But I've been thinking about it a little bit recently, and I guess because I now own a yarn shop, I feel a little bit more pressure, particularly when I'm in the shop, to be doing the best that I can in terms of like knitting and crochet, because I guess people expect that, don't they? If you walk into a place of business, you kind of expect that person to be quite knowledgeable. So I think I don't play as much with techniques, at least in the shop, when I'm in the shop, and because I'm a complete novice spinner, and it's not connected to my business at all, then yeah, I feel like I'm able to be a bit more playful with it, and if things are a disaster, then it doesn't really matter. And not to say that it would matter if I made disastrous knits, because I still do, but there's that sort of a little extra added pressure that I feel, and I know it's all in my head, and I'm putting this all on myself, but I feel like I need to get everything right all of the time with knitting and crochet. Anyway, I went off on a tangent then, and I've probably just extended this video by 5 minutes, so apologies. I'm off, I promise. I need to get to work. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you are able to do some of the things that you enjoy this week. And until next time, great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now. Bye.